To me, the wrought iron gate and two round piers tell our story. They're about the emancipation really of the tenant farmer, where for the first time after the mid-1800s Land Acts, they got security of tenure and were setting up and establishing themselves throughout the landscape. And I suppose it's a really big investment when you think about, getting someone to build two round piers and another guy to make a gate and hanging it, and it's out on the road, and it is a statement of presence. And to me, they evoke all of those sort of qualities of endeavour, starting out, beginning, that sort of statement. And that can be read from these things to me. And that's the important and the significance of items like those gates in our landscape, because they are telling us and reminding us of our history.
I'm Aidan Levy, and I'm here today on a property that my wife and I bought last year, which we're very excited about. And I also heard recently that Westmeath County Council are conducting a recording survey on wrought iron gates in the county. So I contacted Melanie, the Heritage Officer in Westmeath County Council, to let her know that we had 4 fantastic gates on site that we wanted to record. It's been fantastic to have Shem on site today. He's an absolute fountain of knowledge. He knows gates like the back of his hand, so I've been able to learn so much in such a short period of time, and the timing is perfect because we plan to do up the gates gradually, starting one by one over the coming 1 to 2 years.
I'm so glad to be here today in this lovely farmstead, and so glad that Aidan invited me up and that Melanie invited me up, because I've been working with Melanie on a number of projects locally. What I really like to find are local design, and you can see that throughout the country. A local blacksmith finds a way of making a latch that's aesthetically pleasing to them and works well, or of constructing a gate, because they're not all the standard sort of gate. There are some fantastic variations in it. And it's this local or vernacular style that really is interesting. We found some maker's marks. One we couldn't quite decipher, it was 2 letters, but the other was the name Nangle. And that seems to be a local name, and I think Aidan is going to try and do some research and find out if there was a black or smithy locally that made gates or made things with the family name of Nangle. Of course, we looked at our cartwheel banding. Some of the gates that I've met throughout the country are made from cartwheel banding, and they are, as far as I would be concerned, the true vernacular, because the blacksmith has a commission to make a gate. It goes out into the yard and looks at the material he has, and he sees the cartwheel banding. That came in long strips, and it's identifiable because it's got a curved edge on each side. It's really like a metal tire for a wheel. And you find gates throughout the country that are made from this material, and using 3 basic ways of joining metal together. One is the mortise and tenon joint, which a hole is punched and a tenon pushed through it and riveted at the back end. The other is rivets themselves, where a hole is hot punched and a riveted piece of material put through and banged on either end. And the other, more mysterious thing, and there's great mystery around blacksmithing, but is forge welding. When we think of welding today, you're thinking of MIG and TIG and arc welding and that, where a new material has been introduced to the metal in order to bond it. In forge welding, both pieces of metals to be joined together are put into the furnace or into the forge, and the blacksmith keeps an eye out to look at the type of spark coming off them. And that metal is about to give up and melt, and there are these little constellation like stars of sparks that begin to emanate. And that is the critical moment in which he brings those 2 pieces together and taps them together, and they bond together as one, inseparable, unbreakable. They are one.
Preserving the gates for me is very important. They're one part of a big jigsaw here on this lovely site and cottage, and I want to pay tribute to the history of the site of the gates, pay tribute to the people who put a lot of work in over 100 years ago to make them what they are today. They stood the test of time. I think if I can help use some of Shem's steps to be able to bring them back to life, give them a new lease of life, hopefully another 100 years, that's really important for me to be able to pay that respect to people who put in so much work in the past. And also it's good to be able to ensure that we're using local raw materials, not wasting, not throwing refuse unnecessarily. For me, it's really important that my children see that, so they value the importance of our heritage, and hopefully they learn from that and be able to apply that learning as they grow.